He told the truth about the crime. He was innocent. But one sentence under oath sent him to federal prison for 5 years. The perjury trap doesn't care if you're guilty or innocent. It only cares if you slip. Here's something prosecutors don't want you to know. The perjury trap is not about catching liars. It's about creating them. When you're called to testify, whether as a witness or a target, prosecutors often already know the answers to every question they're asking. They've seen the documents. They've heard the recordings. They've interviewed other witnesses. So why ask you at all? Because if your answer differs from what they already have, even slightly, even innocently, you've just committed a federal crime. And that's exactly what happened to Marcus Webb. He walked into a grand jury room to tell the truth about a financial investigation. But the truth and what prosecutors could prove were two different things. Marcus Webb was a mid-level accountant at a pharmaceutical company. If you saw him on the street, you'd forget him in seconds. Average height. Average build. Average life. He wasn't the target of the investigation. His boss was. Prosecutors believed the CEO had been hiding offshore accounts, and they needed someone inside to confirm their suspicions. Marcus had processed some of the wire transfers. He didn't know they were illegal. He didn't even know they were suspicious. When the FBI showed up at his office, he cooperated immediately. He answered every question. He handed over every document they requested. He thought he was doing the right thing. If you're learning something here, that like button helps more people understand this. What Marcus didn't understand was that cooperation in a federal investigation is not the same as protection. Now let me put this in perspective. When you testify under oath, you're not just promising to tell the truth. You're promising to remember everything perfectly. To interpret every question exactly as the prosecutor intended. To never confuse dates, amounts, or conversations that happened years ago. And here's where it gets dangerous. Marcus was asked about a specific wire transfer from March 15, 2017. He remembered processing it. He remembered the amount. But when asked who authorized it, he said his supervisor, David Chen. The prosecutor paused. Looked down at a document. And asked again, very slowly. Are you certain David Chen authorized that transfer? Marcus said yes. He was certain. The problem? Prosecutors had an email showing Marcus himself had initiated the request. Not authorized it. Initiated it. A technical distinction that would cost him everything. What would you have done in that moment? Think about it. You're under oath. You're nervous. You're trying to remember something that happened years ago. You genuinely believe David Chen authorized the transfer because that's how things worked at your company. Supervisors approved everything. You just processed the paperwork. But technically, legally, the email trail showed you clicked send first. You didn't lie. You remembered wrong. And in the eyes of federal law, there's no difference. Here's the critical thing most people miss. Perjury doesn't require intent to deceive. It requires a materially false statement made under oath. If prosecutors can prove you said something false, and that false statement was relevant to their investigation, you're guilty. Your memory, your confusion, your honest mistake. Irrelevant. But here's what nobody expected. The CEO Marcus was testifying against. He took a plea deal. 6 months in a minimum security facility. Financial penalty. Career over, but life intact. Marcus Webb, the cooperating witness who tried to tell the truth. 5 years in federal prison for perjury. Let that sink in. The actual criminal served 6 months. The accountant who misremembered an email authorization served 5 years. And this happens more often than you'd think. Federal perjury convictions have increased 47% in the last decade. Prosecutors call it accountability. Defense attorneys call it weaponization. Either way, the pattern is clear. If they can't get you for the crime they're investigating, they'll get you for how you talked about it. Subscribe if you want to understand how this system actually works. And this brings us to the most terrifying part. The 3 words that have destroyed more innocent lives than any other phrase in testimony. I don't recall. You might think those words protect you. After all, if you can't remember, you can't lie, right? Wrong. Prosecutors have successfully argued that claiming not to recall something you definitely should remember is itself a form of perjury. They call it willful blindness. You're pretending not to know to avoid giving a truthful answer. So now you're trapped. If you answer and you're wrong, that's perjury. If you say you don't remember something important, that might also be perjury. And if you refuse to answer at all, contempt of court. This is why defense attorneys have one piece of advice that sounds counterintuitive. Sometimes, the safest thing you can do is not testify at all. So what happened to Marcus Webb? After 3 years in federal prison, his case was reviewed. An appeals court found that prosecutors had withheld evidence showing the email authorization system was flawed. Multiple employees had their names attached to transfers they never actually initiated. The system auto-populated the last user logged in. Marcus hadn't lied. He hadn't even been wrong. The evidence prosecutors used to convict him was misleading from the start. His conviction was vacated. He walked free after serving 3 years of a 5-year sentence for something he never did. But here's the part that should haunt you. No prosecutor was disciplined. No apology was issued. The system worked exactly as designed. They got their conviction. They got their statistics. And when it fell apart, they simply moved on to the next case. The lesson here isn't that you should fear the justice system. It's that you should understand it. When you're called to testify, you're not having a conversation. You're entering an arena where every word is a potential weapon. Where prosecutors measure success by convictions, not by truth. Where your honest mistake becomes your criminal record. Marcus Webb lost 3 years of his life, missed his daughter's graduation, and will forever have this case attached to his name in any background check. All because he answered a question about an email he genuinely misremembered. The perjury trap is real. And now you know exactly how it works. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more courtroom breakdowns where justice gets examined, not just assumed. Now you understand the perjury trap. One wrong word under oath can